Hey, what's going on guys, my name is Sean Arnold and welcome to another deck profile for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. Today I'm showing off my EvilSWAM deck, and it's a deck which I really love to bits. I really love playing this deck, and I think it's really good at what it tries to accomplish. I'm going to try to do two hit things here today. In past deck profile videos, people have asked me, can you talk a bit more about combos? I'm going to try to do that a bit more efficiently here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through the card list, and then I'm going to talk about combos at the end of it. So the first monster which I have in the card list, and this is just sorted. Do I want it by level of rank? I will do it by attack. The first card which I have here sorted by attack is Rescue Rabbit. Now Rescue Rabbit is the only non-EvilSWAM monster in this deck. His effect is very simple. You can banish this face-up card you control, special summon 2 level 4 or lower monsters, normal monsters with the same name from your deck, but destroy them during the end phase. He is there. I'll talk about more why he is there later on in terms of combos, but he's a really solid card for this deck. Then I have EvilSWAM Azathoth. I like him because he's a card which removes special summon monsters by shuffling them into the deck, although I don't really use them too much. There are a few monsters out there which can't be removed by battle or being destroyed, so sometimes I use him instead. 3 copies of EvilSWAM Mandragora. EvilSWAM Mandragora is kind of like a Cyber Dragon, in that if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. The only thing I like about this more than Cyber Dragon is that it doesn't require you to have no monsters in your field, so as long as your opponent has more monsters than you do, you can just special summon it. Really easy card to use, and you kind of want to keep 2 or more monsters on your field for the sake of doing XC summons. Then we've got EvilSWAM Kelly-Kelly-On. This is my favorite card in the deck. He has 2 effects, and you can only use one of them each per turn. The first effect is that it has 3 effects. There's one that I don't even use. It's kind of crazy. The first effect he has is that while this card is in the graveyard, if it was sent there during this turn, you can normal summon 1 EvilSWAM or IceSwarm monster for 1 less tribute. Now I don't use any IceSwarm level 5 or higher monsters, but I'll just show them to you. Just type in IceSwarm. Sorry, not IceSwarm, just Swarm. Let me see if I can sort this by level or rank. Again, that's not really. Let's go. Oops, sorry. Let me put the name filter back on, and let's put effect monster on. So the ones we have really are things like EvilSWAM Golem, Swarm of Crows. That's not one of them. What am I talking about? EvilSWAM Copelia or Steel Swarm Longhorn. By the way, all of these work with Steel Swarms as well, but I'm not using any of the Steel Swarms. So you could summon those with these effects, but I'm not using that anything for that. So Kelly-Kelly-On never uses that effect in my deck. The other 2 that he has, I do use. The first one is you can banish 1 IceSwarm monster from your graveyard, then target 1 IceSwarm monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. So really great for recycling your cards. That's why I don't use things like Soul Charge or Call of the Haunted, because I have 3 copies of him, and he gets back any monster which I really want in my grave, as long as I can banish another one. And then he gets a third effect, and it's that once you've used that second effect to recover a monster from your graveyard, you can then normal summon 1 IceSwarm monster during this turn. It's really solid for just getting field presence back into your field. He gets you cards back for free, and then he lets you normal summon them for free. Really solid card. A card which I like to use after turn 2 and thereon. EvilSWAM Thunderbird, a really cool card. He has a dodging effect, and that is during other player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can banish this card you control. Pretty much anything. As long as a card is used, you can chain his effect and you can banish him, and then during the next standby phase he returns to the field. Now keep in mind that it's not a special summon, he just returns to the field. He just gets put back on the field, and when he does, he gains 300 attack, which makes him to 1950. Fantastic card for dodging effects. Things like opponents, I don't know, Mirror Force, he won't touch him. Torrential Tribute won't touch him. Snatch Still won't touch him. Fiendish Chain won't touch him. There's a lot of good effects out there which target 1 monsters, and if you want to bait them out with Thunderbird, then he's really a great way to do that. Although most people who know what Thunderbird do won't try to activate an effect against him, they'll just try to attack him. So just be aware of that. But his effect allows him at the very least to keep your field presence up so you have 2 monsters at least to summon during your next turn. Then we have EvilSWAM Castor. Castor is my turn 1 card. I really like Castor. He's a warrior type, so he's searchable by reinforcement of the army. But his effect is very simple. When he's normal summoned, you can normal summon another Iceborne monster from your hand. Again, it's really important that you acknowledge that this is a normal summon and not a special summon like Goblin the Berg or Marauding Captain. He allows you just to summon 2 monsters in a turn, which is really useful for XCs and other tricks. And then EvilSWAM Heliotrope. Heliotrope is a normal EvilSWAM monster. He has 1950 attack. Some of you would have guessed already why he's in this deck, but I will talk more about why he's there. But he's just a solid EvilSWAM card, and I really like what he says at the bottom. He says eliminate, eradicate, exterminate. These are the thoughts of lingering still swarm souls. I can't, yearning for a body so that they might make their dream a reality. I don't know what that's about. I don't know the story of EvilSWAM monsters, but that had me interested. Anyway, onto the spell cards. We have Allure of Darkness, really obvious card to put in here. You draw 2 cards and then you banish 1 dark monster. Pretty much any target except Rescue Rabbit in here works for that. Book of Moon is Book of Moon. Book of Moon is amazing. Forbidden Chalice. This is what I run in this deck because I like to have 4 copies of Effect Negation nowadays, and it's really good against Shadows. I kind of almost want to fit in a 3rd copy because Shadows can be annoying, but no, it's really great for countering many effects like that. Plus you can increase your attack by 400 if you need to. Infestation Pandemic. This is one of the key cards in the deck. This is a very simple card to use. It's a quick play spell. You play it and all face up Iceborne monsters you currently control are unaffected by other spell or trap cards this turn. Really great for protecting your monsters and maintaining your field presence. Just such a solid card. I have 3 copies of MST because of Cliff Forts and the like. MST is still a solid card, and I don't really have many options for destroying spells or traps, so I want to use that. I do have some kind of quirky options in the extra deck, but I like running 3 copies of MST in this deck. Then 3 copies of Reinforcement in the Army. The only target Reinforcement in the Army can get out is Castor, but there is another card in here which makes running 3 copies worth doing so. Snatch Steal is Snatch Steal. You can take out your opponent's monster. Great for taking an opponent's monster, then using to XE summon into, or just taking a beat stick from your opponent and using it against them. Bottomless Trap Hole, compulsory evacuation device, and Solemn Warning make my monster trap removal. 2 copies of Fiendish Chain for negating effects, as I spoke about earlier. 3 copies of Vanity's Emptiness, really solid in this deck. I'll talk a bit more about that why later, but really solid to have 3 copies of Vanity's Emptiness here. And then we got Infestation Infection, one of the key cards in this deck. This is your key searching card, and if you're playing against an Infestation deck and you an EvilSWAM deck and you see Infestation, Infection, you kind of want to destroy this straight away, because this is what allows them to search their deck for any Iceborne monster that they want to, really. So in the extra deck, I'll talk about the extra deck later on, but let's talk about some combos for the main deck. Like I said just now, Infestation Infection is a key card in this deck, and what's great about this card is you can shuffle 1 Iceborne monster from your hand or face up on the field to the main deck. Now this is really important for a variety of things. First of all, the 3 copies of Castor. I'm running 3 copies of Reinforcement in the Army and 3 copies of Castor. Now normally having 3 copies of Reinforcement in the Army for only 3 monsters would be bad, because you're likely to draw into one of them and you won't be able to get to use all 3 cards, meaning Reinforcement in the Army could end up as a dead card. But because of Infestation Infection, you'll be able to shuffle Castor back into the deck easily and then search him out again with Reinforcement in the Army. Something I like to do is I would like to summon Castor on the first turn, use him to XE summon with another monster, then on the second turn revive Castor with Kerry on, bring Castor back to my hand, shuffle him into my deck with Infection, and then search him out again with Reinforcement in the Army. And it just works really well together like that. Similarly, Infestation Infection also works really well with Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit again is a card you really want to get on your first turn, but if you don't, it can still work in this deck. The only targets that Rescue Rabbit can bring out are EvilSWAM Heliotrope. He can special summon 2 of them, and then I can use it to XE summon into something bigger. Now, let's say I draw a Heliotrope in my first turn, or draw 2 copies of Heliotrope earlier on, and I haven't got Rescue Rabbit out yet. I can shuffle them back into my deck using Infection, and bring out something else, and then when I get Rescue Rabbit out, I can use his effect to bring out my targets. Infection is a really key card in this deck. It's also really useful for giving all of your monsters a dodge effect. So let's say you have, I don't know, Mandragora on the field, and your opponent plays Snatch Steal. You can chain Infestation, Infection, shuffle them back into the deck, and then they won't be able to target your monster. What else can I say about it? If you've used an effect, let's say you've used Carry On, and you've got your card back and you have no more use for Carry On, you can shuffle him back into the deck, get out something more useful, maybe a stronger monster like Heliotrope or Castor, and then use him again later on in another turn. A solid card for recycling. I'm only using 1 copy just because I've just found 1 copy to work, but I might use more in the future if I need to. The other card which is really good in here is Infestation Pandemic. Again, I've spoken about this, is how it protects your monsters, but Pandemic and Infection together are really important because they work well with 1 XE monster, and it's EvilSWARM or Fion. EvilSWARM or Fion requires 2 level 4 Ice Swarm monsters to be brought out. As long as he has an XE material, no players can special summon level 5 or higher monsters, which is why I'm not using any of these guys. He's really great for shutting down effects like, not effects, but decks like Shadows, who like to summon fusion monsters, Masked Heroes like to summon fusion monsters, Synchro decks, Ritual decks, anything which uses basically big monsters that are not XE monsters get stopped by Ophion. Really great card with 250 attack. Is really solid. So Ophion stops your opponent from special summoning, but he wants to stop them from special summoning everything, which is why I have Vanity's Emptiness. I'll talk more about the Vanity's Emptiness Ophion combo later on. Ophion's other effect is that you can attach 1 card to search out an Infestation card, and the 2 targets for that are Pandemic and Infection. Normally, it depends on the situation really. I have to read my opponent's plays, but I will either search out, I normally try to get Infection early as possible, but if I think my monster might be destroyed, I'll get Pandemic to protect him and keep that soft lock and keep those high level monsters off the field. It really depends on the situation. You have to kind of judge it for yourself and decide as you get more familiar with your opponent's plays. In regards to using Ophion and Vanity's Emptiness, sometimes Ophion can't hit everything. If I'm playing Stellar Knights or Satellar Knights, he won't be able to stop them at all because they don't use any high level monsters. So Vanity's Emptiness there, 3 copies of that is there as a backup to support Ophion if he can't hit the monsters. They don't really work well together, but they really just put that kind of soft lock approach on an opponent. So they have there's a lot of special summoning prevention here. Plus you've got Sun and Morning, Compulsory, and Bottomless Trappo if you need so. Vanity's Emptiness is also really useful in an EvilSWARM deck because a lot of these effects are normal summons, and you swarm the field through normal summons, not by special summoning. Carry On, Castor are the 2 main targets for this one. So you can still swarm the field and bring out lots of monsters through normal summoning, even while Vanities is still in effect. Great for countering Vanities, great for working with Vanities, for putting pressure on your opponent. So really solid for that altogether. What else can I talk about in terms of combos? Infestation Pandemic, again, just to highlight a bit more of its recycling effects. The reason why I only run 1 copy of Azathoth is because I can recycle him. If I want to get him back from the graveyard, I can do so with Carry On. If I don't have a use for him, I can just shuffle him back into the deck using Infection and bring out something I need more. I don't always need Azathoth, but when I do, he's really useful. Now to the extra deck here, let's go through the basic monsters first. I've got Rhapsody in Berserk, great card for banishing cards from my opponent's graveyard. That and Abyss Dweller for the graveyard control, so I use 2 of those. Good for countering Shadows and anything which really uses the graveyard as a toolbox. Then I have Cowboy for Cowboy's reasons. EvilSWARM is Excision Knight. Really great in this deck obviously because he's an EvilSWARM monster. He also gets protected by Infestation Pandemic if you need to, but he's there for the same reasons he's always there, and that is to nuke the field and destroy all cards in the field if I need to. 1 copy of Castell for Castell reasons, Diamond Dire Wolf for destroying spells and traps if I need to, Silent Honor Arc for the Silent Honor Arc, and Ragnar Zero for Ragnar Zero. Let's talk about the EvilSWARM XE monsters here. I have 1 copy of EvilSWARM Nightmare that takes 2 level dark monsters to bring out. When your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can attach 1 XE material from this card, change that special summon monster to face down defense position. I have never ever used this card. Never ever used this card. Can't really recommend it, to be honest with you. I want to find the opportunity to use it, but I've just never really had the opportunity to use it. Not much I can really say about EvilSWARM Nightmare. I might take him out. EvilSWARM. Oh, I did talk about Dark Rebellion. Dark Rebellion's here too. EvilSWARM Bahamut, a fantastic card. I spoke about him quite a bit in one of my duels, but just to say, 1, he's called Bahamut, so I had to run him. You know, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, so you know I had to try Bahamut out. And he's got a great effect too. He takes 2 level 4 Ice Wall monsters, and once per turn you could attach 1 XE material from this card to target 1 face-up monster on your opponent controls. Discard 1 Ice Wall monster, and if you do, take control of that opponent's monster. So how it works is, you activate by detaching, you target your opponent's monster, and if they don't negate the effect, then you have to discard. That's kind of cool because you don't lose your card if your opponent negates the effect with, say, Fiendish Chain. But if you do pull off the effect, you get to take 1 of their cards. Really solid effect. It's having extra copies of Snatch Steel. It's great. I'm probably going to take, actually, you know what, I'm going to do it right now. I'm taking out Nightmare, and I'm putting in another copy of Bahamut. But the main card here is Fine, which I spoke about already. I think 3 copies of him is vital for this deck, so if you're going to build this deck, try to get 3 copies of him. And yeah, he is the key monster in this deck. He keeps your deck count low, he lets you search out cards from your deck quite quickly. He gets you into your searcher card, which lets you search more cards out. Fine is fantastic. So that's the deck profile, guys. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, and hopefully you will enjoy playing the EvilSWARMs yourself. Please don't get it twisted. You have my full permission to copy my decks. That's why I make these videos. So don't feel like you have to change anything if you don't want to. Try it out yourself, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I have. So without further ado, my mouth is starting to get dry here. Thank you for watching. Much love. Take care and goodbye.